Yay, thank you very
Yep,
much.
no problem.
Awesome. Well, I believe you received our questions beforehand, right? But well, let's go with the first one. Is that's the one I want to hear about the most. When and how did you decide, the team decided it was time for a Classic Plus? I'm calling Classic Plus, but it's Season of Discovery, right?
Sure.
What made the team decide to take the Classic we know and play a little with it?
So this is something we've kind of been thinking about for a really long time. Like we kind of wanted to dip our toes into classic with some changes with Season of Mastery to kind of see how that would go. And it went pretty well. Like we learned a lot from that. But the actual kind of idea of Season of Discovery and kind of having the level banded content and stuff like that really kind of started 4 years ago during it was more than 4 years ago at this point, during the WoW Classic beta in 2019. We had a lot of fun when the level cap was level 30, watching kind of new metas emerge and watching new fun things that people were learning to do. Like they found a lot of fun for themselves with those constraints. And it's like, man, it would be really fun to build a whole game mode around this. And that's something that we never really stopped talking about. And then once we were thinking about what to do for our next season after Season of Mastery, it's like, hey, let's do this. Like we've been talking about it for years at this point. Why don't we just do it?
So you guys got like you forced everyone to play a twink in some sort of way.
A little bit, yeah. And it was really fun. It was very, very fun. It was fun to
Yeah,
watch too.
like Josh said, people were coming up with incredible and like entirely new metas during
Mhm.
that time, which led to a lot of really fun world PvP, battlegrounds, dungeon stuff. As players kind of sought to figure out new and interesting ways to approach what was to them basically a solved game.
Yeah.
And so with Season of Discovery, we're unsolving things, and we're allowing you to either for the first time or once again experience that sense of exploration and wonder that you felt, exploring Azeroth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one. We go so fast looking for the end game, and sometimes we forgot
Hmm.
to look around the game.
Hmm. Yeah.
Nice one. The next question. Uh, the PvP event in Ashenvale will be a timed event like Wintergrasp or Tobarat, or will it be up and running until one of the leaders fall?
So it will be timed. Once
Okay.
it starts, basically the Ashenvale PvP event is going to add markers to your map, which is going to show you where that all the lieutenants are alive and dead in which locations. And there will be a 30-minute timer. I think it's currently set to 30
Oh,
minutes, which will display on your screen. And once that timer runs out, the battle will end, despawning all the PvP event specific NPCs.
Yeah. The one
oh,
oh go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was thinking maybe we were planning some of those unending Alterac Valleys
Sure.
battlegrounds
Yeah,
again.
I think one of the things that we do have to kind of be aware of populations and things like that. These realms are going to be very large. They're going to have a lot of layers, and we don't really want to get into a situation where the correct thing to do to maximize, honor gains or reputation gains is to basically do one battle and then hop to another layer to do another one. So the way that it'll work is basically it'll spin up like as each layer will get progress like together, and then all the layers will start the event at the same time and they'll end the event at the same time. So you can really only do it once in that window of time. And that's just, it's to prevent a little bit of gamification, I guess, of
Okay.
overly gamifying, the system.
Yeah,
Uh,
over gamifying the
yeah.
game.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So that's kind of why that is. It's still enough time. Like we don't want to also have these things kind of like overstay their welcome or create really huge stalemates or anything that kind of lock up the zone and create issues for people that are just kind of like minding their business there. Like we kind of want to let people do the thing and then sort of move on. But it'll happen often enough that you'll be able to do it several times a day at least. So yeah.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, I like that way too. I was a big fan of Wintergrass back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, with Ashen Veil being so relevant for the end game, with the PvP sorry, and the raid, are you hoping to turn Darnassus into the new Alliance hub, or at least during that first phase? It's so close.
I mean, honestly, like we didn't go into it with the plan of specifically like, okay, Darnassus is going to be the new hub, but I wouldn't personally be surprised if it did kind of become more of a hub than it is today, simply because it's got that easy access to a bank, auction house, and it's, so close to the 1 to 25 end game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't deliberate, but definitely it's sort of as development went on, it's like, oh, well, this is probably how this is going to shake down.
It's
Quests
probably
and
gonna
stuff in
happen.
there, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind, actually. I like Darnassus a lot. I was very sad when it got lost in retail.
Yeah.
It goes without saying.
Yeah.
Now it's a callback to when I was at a group interview in BlizzCon about the season of Discovery, and the devs there say you were playing like a sandbox with the game, with Season of Discovery. So I have a question here. With the dual wielding hunter, can we hope for the swashbuckler spec finally arriving?
Oh, for rogues or for hunters?
I don't know. I would be happy either way. It was promised for the rogues.
Yeah. There's a lot of abilities coming in that are sort of an outlaw slant. Like when we kind of designed the new abilities, we sort of informally grouped them up kind of by these little archetypes almost, and one of them, there's a spreadsheet somewhere that has one that's like swashbuckler rogue, and there's a column with a bunch of abilities. And so I think you can infer, there's like oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name. There's like saber slash and between the eyes, which are very much kind of like swashbuckling rogue. I've got a pistol in one hand, I've got a sword in another, kind of thing.
Oh, so we are having the swashbuckler.
Yeah. So there are
basically
a few. Yeah, there are a few there, and we'll let you discover the rest of them on your own. But there's a few nods to that kind of playstyle.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, we were very focused around class fantasy archetypes, and so like the swashbuckler may be one of the archetypes we kind of centered around for designing the rogue. And who knows, like if you were kind of interested in the role play aspect. As a dual wielding hunter, you could, conceivably build a character that is, a swashbuckler, but no formal specs or anything like that, because our abilities are very hot swappable, right? You just build what you want.
Yeah, on that note with the hunter, we're really excited to kind of play up some of that melee hunter ranger fantasy in Season of Discovery. There's several abilities that really lean into that will probably be more as the level cap increases. So keep an eye out for that. It's pretty cool.
Oh, awesome. I had another question about hunters. What is just a second? Well, I can find it. Let's go to the next one. It will come when it comes.
Oh, sure.
Will be there any? Here you go. Will be there any chance of new class and roles combinations coming in the next phases, like maybe a hunter survivalist healer, since they are still just DPSing? It's the only class that is only DPSing at this point, right?
Yeah, the answer is we'll see. I think that's kind of the answer for a lot of these things. One of the cool things about this sort of phased approach is that we can kind of get a lot of feedback and sort of like see how these abilities play out and see like, we obviously have it planned kind of all the way to 60, but there's room to pivot. Like if we decide that something else makes sense, or someone finds a play style that's really fun that we didn't maybe even intend for people to find, we can lean into that for sure. So no plans, but never say never on something like that. That could be cool for the future.
Cool. I like hunters. I do like them. I want to see them doing a lot of things. How did you decide the level bands range? It was a specific dungeons for those levels, or the maps and quests, or something entirely different? You wanted us to focus on a specific dungeon? You wanted to turn a specific dungeon into a raid? Where do you get those numbers? When did you decide those numbers?
I think it initially started with a intention to want to kind of break up the content into chunks, right? So we knew we wanted to go there first. It's a little easier for you to kind of have alts as well, and you're not sort of faced with this daunting 1 to 60 grind that your friends can kind of leave you in the dust.
I think when we were looking at it, it's like 1 through 25 is doable for most normal folks in like several days, and it's same deal. 25 to 40 is a little bit a larger chunk. It's probably for normal players probably around a week, but for really hardcore players, like it could be a lot faster. And so it's really just like what Nora said, and manageable chunks. And also just we wanted to make sure that we had a cool kind of place to go for each one, and a cool kind of overarching narrative of like, or not overarching narrative, but like what's a good zone that could act as like an in-game zone. And for 25, Ashenvale is such a great flashpoint between the Horde and the Alliance. It's so iconic. There's the Warsong Outriders on one side, the Silverwing Sentinels on another. It just made sense after that. And then for subsequent zones, we had, I don't want to spoil, but we have similarly sort of good reasons for wanting to choose those level bands.
I wanted to ask what was the 40 zone, the 40 level zone.
Soon. You'll know soon.
You'll know soon, yeah.
Oh, okay. I can try to imagine. Every phase of Season of Discovery will have their own race and PvP zone events.
That's the plan.
Oh, so
that's the plan,
know the next race already. Oh, I will try to find out, to try to guess what will be the next raid. Do you have plans to spend the phases of Season of Discovery beyond the Classic era and go to Burning Crusade era once it reaches the maximum level of 60? Or you just stick on Classic?
So we don't have plans for that currently. The season will, eventually come to an end, and we're imagining that players will then, eventually perhaps migrate to realms that are specifically set up for X Season of Discovery characters, which might look similar to our regular Classic era realms, but also might have some changes incorporated that make sense for those seasonal characters.
Yeah, we're going to add a lot of items and things like that may not have a place in normal era realms. Like at the end of our Season of Mastery run, we let you go to normal era because none of the gear changed, and you wouldn't have really been super out of place, and there wasn't anything you would have brought forward that you couldn't already get in era, at least nothing impactful in terms of player power. But for Season of Mastery, we're going to give you a lot of new items and a lot of new things by the end of it. And it may not make sense to go to just a regular era realm, but we kind of think that we'll see how it goes. You might end up in some place that's pretty cool at the end of it. So we're excited to kind of see what the reaction is, and how we feel we're at the end of the season, to see where things go.
Awesome. Where am I? Here. During the first phases, the full map of Azeroth will be available for the players to try and explore and probably die in the process, or just the zones up to level 25. You plan to place an invisible wall on them, just let those brave enough to explore.
No, you will be welcome to explore Azeroth as you wish, as long as everyone understands that enemies will be dangerous in those higher than level 25 zones. So I mean, if they want to, sure.
Enemies might be more dangerous than you expect too in those higher level zones. So brave adventurers can be brave. It'll be fun to see where people are able to go.
I actually imagine a few raids going outside the level 25 zones.
Yeah, I've seen players talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see players doing that. I'll probably do that too.
Yeah.
Any plans of changing the story that unfolds during the game? Maybe making the Scarlet Crusade victorious, or change the results of some quest lines, like in Darrowshire or Tyrion's campaign?
This is a great question, and we've talked about this a couple of times at this point. One of the things that was really important to us going into the season, and going into most things that have any sort of new narrative at all, is we really want to be respectful to the established sort of timeline and lore and canon of original World of Warcraft. When we were first starting to work on Season of Discovery, we met with Chris Metzen, who recently returned as our senior creative director on World of Warcraft. And whenever we were kind of bouncing ideas off of him, we all kind of agreed that really the right thing to do is to not try and change major events or characterizations or anything like that. But the analogy that Chris made that we really liked is like kind of like it's almost like found photographs. Like if you're going through, a box of old family photos and you find a picture of your parents and they took a trip to Italy at some point. It's like you never knew they went to Italy. Does that change how you feel about your parents or your relationship with them? No, not really. It's just a fun tidbit that you learned about them of an event they had in their life that was cool to them. And that's kind of how this is like a lot of any existing characters. That's kind of like, what did this person do on the weekend in 2004 kind of thing, so it's a little less, but we're able to expand on stories too, which is kind of cool without really bucking sort of what came after or interfering with that sort of established timeline and lore. And we think that's cool.
We don't want to do anything like kind of add complexity for our friends over in our story and franchise development teams.
Yes,
change lore, and then also like for players like myself who really love the lore of Warcraft, I don't want there ever being a situation where I have to like pay super close attention to this one-off like seasonal realm that WoW Classic did in order to like learn more about this character, that something about this character changed or something important happened there, right?
Yeah, we also talk a lot about the world being the main character of this, and adding new crazy world changing stories to Classic is kind of honestly not really in the spirit of Classic to us, because Classic, there's no kind of overarching through line story in original WoW. It's like you've got Ragnaros and Blackrock Mountain and the Dark Iron Dwarves doing their thing here. You've got Naxxramas and Kel'Thuzad's doing his thing over there. But it's all just sort of localized stories that are world building events, right? And that's really what we kind of want to focus on for anything we add. It should be that's cool, but not like oh my gosh, I got to go and like dig into this. And if I'm a modern player and I don't really care about Classic, I don't feel like I have to go and play Classic to get that story. You know what I mean? It's just a neat thing if you want to seek it out.
Yeah, I think it can be compelling just to have those smaller stories, those bite-sized pieces of interesting lore,
Yeah, and there's tons of those, and that's what we did.
That's pretty cool. I almost have all the books. I don't know if you can see that.
That's wonderful.
Behind me. And that was I wouldn't say a big concern of mine, because I'm seeing Season of Discovery like a what if in World of Warcraft. It's not like what if mages could heal, what if warlocks could tank, but also what if this quest was not like that? What if there was this little change in this little quest over there, and this little NPC has a happy ending or a sad ending,
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a few unresolved quest chains that might be good candidates to be resolved in something like a season. So yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I wasn't hoping for a big change in the history as well. It would be a very big headache. Any change for a retail Season of Discovery, or maybe in the future bring some of the runes to Season of Discovery as talents on retail WoW?
I don't know, Nora, you want to take a stab at this?
No plans at that. Like we do. I do want to stress that like we do have kind of a symbiotic relationship with retail, in that we learn from each other, right? So there's a lot of kind of things that modern WoW development has taught us along the way as we've gone about building and recreating these experiences for players, as well as things that we can perhaps and we have kind of taught our mainline or our modern WoW counterparts. So it's like there's no plans for anything like that. But with the season about to launch, I'm sure there will be all kinds of interesting, fun learnings that we'll have along the way.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe with the hero specs that's coming for the retail WoW, maybe that would be a little start, like a beginning to Season of Discovering retail. or maybe another chance to play with the classes in the retail game.
I think
Who knows? Yeah.
one thing I've learned working on WoW for more than 10 years is never say never, you know. It could go who knows what the future holds, you know.
I will add a little question, but it's all under the same subject. What are you expecting from the players into this new end game season? Are you hoping they will be more focused on the PvP or more focused on the raid, or maybe make an entirely new game inside Season of Discovery, you know, like RP games inside the Season of Discovery?
Honestly,
What was your hopes?
I think we just hope that players have fun, whether that is engaging with, the world PvP, the zone-wide PvP event in Ashen Vale, whether it's engaging with that raid endgame content, the PvE endgame content. And also, like myself personally, I'm a huge fan of player-driven events in-game. Like with Hardcore, we saw the Mak'gora tournaments. We saw multiple Duel to the Death Mak'gora tournaments happen, right? And on the flip side, in Classic era, there's still to this day player-run events that occur weekly, basically. So super looking forward to that. And just any way that players want to have fun and engage with the game. We learn from that all the time.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about at BlizzCon about approachability too. Is like, you know, if you're kind of a weekend warrior, you know, like some of us have very busy jobs and families and stuff like that. Like a lot of us who have played WoW for since it came out, we've grown more mature. Let's say it that way. And so,
Yeah.
you know, it's very approachable and very easy to get a character to 25 and do a raid every few days or once a week, or do the PvP event once a week, and then just go do other things, and that's fine. And we really think that's cool, but we think that there's a lot of other people that will sort of find their own fun. Like what Nora says, emergent content and emergent player behavior is kind of what inspired Season of Discovery. And we hope to learn from players and the things they are going to do and be able to carry those lessons forward for more cool kind of emergent, less hands-on content and things like that.
Oh, nice. I'm level 40 on hardcore classic, so yeah,
Oh,
I can
wow.
totally feel that. I died like 3 times already.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So yeah,
What's your
I know the
is
feeling.
52 still your highest, Nora? I think Nora
Yeah,
had
I
a
died at
52 death.
52.
52. Oh boy, so sad. It was a experience. You know, I was mostly mobbed by murlocs.
Like you do, like you
Yeah,
do.
Like
classic
everybody,
way
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Classic way to die.
Yeah.
Oh, that was all my questions actually. You know, I think I was so nervous. I'm really sorry if I said anything wrong actually.
No worries. It was wonderful talking to you.
Yeah.
You were great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what it will bring with Season of Discovery. I'm pretty sad for the fact that I play Shaman in retail, but I'm Alliance, so it's gonna be hard to decide what I'm going to do in Season of Discovery, because I was really hoping to tank as Shaman, but I don't think that will be possible. So I don't know, maybe a Warlock.
Shaman tanking is no joke, Dora. It's really good and it's really fun. I'm an alliance main myself, but I'm feeling the pull towards Shaman in Season of Discovery. It's I can't describe how much fun it is in playtest we've had.
Yeah, I'm
Give it a try.
For what I saw, it seems really fun using the earth to tank.
Yeah.
Actually, all the classes they sound really fun to play. You know, and if I can ask you one more question,
Sure.
How did you decide the way the mages will heal? Because I know that evokers can heal using nature spells and time spells, but what was the tough line to make the healers out of mages?
So thinking about it, like Mages do have the capability to kind of manipulate time magic, right? They have time warp spell in modern. And so kind of like jumping off of that, like we realize, okay, well, if you have the ability to manipulate time, then it kind of stands to reason that similar to a Drakthir, an evoker, you'd be able to kind of, reverse damage done to yourself or perhaps other people. So that was kind of like almost like the time mage type archetype that we were going for there.
Oh, great. Awesome. So a time mage seems really fun too. That's very cool. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity. Really, and we have a very tight community here in Brazil, actually. So it's always a great pleasure to have the chance to talk with you and make those questions and bring some of our community to you for you to see us here. It is awesome. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Dorna.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
That's it. So